And this is episode 5 of the Fast Break, coming to you live and direct for the first time. It's me, JT. I got Ish with me. What's going on,
What's,
man?
what's going on, everybody? What's going on? You all right, JT?
Man, this shoot, man. This is episode 5. Like I said, this is the first video one that we actually doing, but we got a special one going on. Top 50 list. It's our official top 50 for the page. It's gonna be posted everywhere. I know y'all gonna have a lot to say, but we came up with a top 50 list all time. So we're gonna put that out there. Talking about other things other than the virus that's going on, but we'll have a good time with it. Ish, you got anything?
Oh man, everybody stay safe. Everybody
Yeah,
stay safe.
for sure.
Hopefully we can get some basketball back real soon. But until then, we're gonna do our best to get this good content out.
Hey, you heard they coming out with that Big Three
Reality
reality
series.
show?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I heard
yeah.
about that.
Definitely shout out to them, man, because that's definitely gonna be
Man,
something to look forward to with nothing going on. So
man, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Shout
yeah.
out to you, but we'll see
Hey,
how
shout
that.
out to Q for sure. Definitely it's creeping up on 500 followers for the page. So
Yep.
shout out to y'all. We got a raffle coming up. I don't know what we're gonna do. We still talking about it, still in the works. But that's coming up. Uh, if y'all got any suggestions, post it on the page or hit us up. Um, but yeah, that's coming up for sure.
Yep.
But we gonna hop right into it. We gonna start at 50 and go coming in at the number 50 spot. And this whole list is done off. We based it off of resume accolades. Um, we took into consideration a lot of things.
Rings,
Rings. If
teams.
they was if they was the main first option for the ring. You know, were they on the tail end of their career? Did they bounce around at the end of the career? Because sometimes that kind of dings somebody's legacy, especially if
Mm,
you're in the top 50. You gotta be pretty pristine to have some come with to bring something to the table. So, um, we took in full resume, eye test, analytics, everything. So the best we could. Also our personal preference. So you know. Uh, but we'll hop right into it. Coming in at 50, I got Bob Pettit. 49, Bob Cousy. 48, Dominique Wilkins. 47, I got Clyde Drexler. 46, Dennis Rodman. 45, Kyrie. 44,
mm.
Clay. 43, Dwight. 42, I got Paul Gasol. And coming in at 41, I got Patrick Ewing.
Ooh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
It's pretty. Pretty stuff.
At 49 and 50, I got Pettit and Kuzi there. Those guys is Pettit is probably got if you look at his stats, I think he's up there like 25 to 27 a game, averaging 12 to
Mm,
13. So he averaged double double for most of his career. The father of
mm,
putbacks, one of the first to really go up there and try to get offensive rebounds and put it back. And
mm,
Bob Cousy, he's a decorated Celtic, but they just played in the wrong era.
mm.
I wouldn't say they wasn't as talented as some of the other guys, but they are decorated, and they do got some accolades. So,
Sure, for
um,
sure.
mhm. But that's why they're there. They could be anywhere on this list. For some of the old heads, they probably put them way higher, but
For sure. Yeah, you know how that is.
talent wise, I don't think they should be within the mix of the rest of them.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Once you start getting into the top 50, that last, you know, after 20, anything 20 to about 40 to 50 range, it's kind of hard to
Right,
put people. You know what I
right.
mean? Because it starts to get almost too close. The top 20 kind of separate themselves. So once you start getting that far deep into to the all time list, it's kind of tough to put them in a order. But I think this is a good place. You know what I mean? Especially
Easily,
with the time period and the talent. I do think that's a good place for them. I do
for
like it. I
sure.
like it. All right. So you want to go ahead and move on?
Well, I
Who you
got
got? Good.
I actually, I really pulled for Robin in there at 46.
Oh, let's talk about that. Why Dennis? Why
Yeah,
Dennis?
he could have been anywhere. He could have been anywhere on this. But he won with two teams, the Pistons and the Bulls. He won two with the Pistons and then three with the Bulls in a second three-peat. So
Right.
he's got that. He's never averaged, or he averaged over 10 points 1 year.
Okay.
Never averaged more than 10 points other than that 1 year. I think it was like a second or third year in the league where he averaged. But I mean, his value is really unknown because he's never been that first or even the second option for the team. But if he wasn't there for some of those championships for those championship teams that he was on, some of the teams might have not won.
Yeah, his value was more. His
Man,
value
to the
spoke on
team
the defensive end. His value was
for
defensive.
sure, for
Like
sure.
he brought the
Um,
defensive. He was the guy who grabbed every rebound off the board. He was a guy who was a piece player. You know what I mean? You know
yeah,
what I mean? He's not the guy that you're gonna go and ask to get a bucket for you, but you're gonna ask him to go get that big rebound or go get that stop for you that you
oh
need.
yeah, two
So
defensive player of the years. I mean,
that's tough.
he earned them, and
Uh,
he probably could have got more, especially in the era that he played in. I mean, it's crazy. So, um, the fact that he probably had the worst stats of any, not stats, because back then nobody cared about stats. But if you just look at everybody's points and his ain't gonna wow you at all. But he definitely deserves to be on this list. So I had him at 46. I think a lot of people could put him anywhere on this list, but I think for me, I think you agreed to that he belonged there at 46.
okay, okay, I like it. I like it. Um, for me, the person that stuck out and it's it might be a little controversial because a lot of people don't talk about this guy, in this light anymore. But Dwight Howard, at that 43 spot, Dwight over his career, about 17 a game, 12 boards, 2 blocks, uh, 8-time All Star, 5-time NBA All NBA first team, three Defensive Player of the Years, actually back to back to back,
Right.
5-time rebound leader, 2-time block leader. The problem with Dwight has been the last 4 or 5 years of career. That's all everybody's gonna remember.
Well,
You know
really,
what I mean?
and the thing about Dwight too, I think it's more the narrative on him because his
Yeah,
numbers haven't really dipped until as of lately. But I think it's been more the narrative that's dinged him lately too. I think if he gets a championship, he could shoot up,
easy.
10,
He,
10, 15,
he,
depending on what he does, he could shoot up a lot of spaces
oh,
on this list if he got a championship.
oh yeah, Prime Dwight took his team to the finals, so you know
Oh
what I mean.
yeah,
Like you can't at a
yeah,
time
that
where
holds weight.
man, and so people, and I think sometimes people forget. So you have to kind of remind people who he was in his prime. He's one of the greatest all
Yeah.
time defenders to ever play the game. So sometimes we get caught up in the now and we forget about what this guy has done for the game. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
So
for sure.
Dwight definitely deserves. Dwight is definitely a top 50 all time player in the game. Like that's just a given. So that was somebody I definitely and that he stood out to me there. So
For
I
sure.
definitely had to put him in there. So then we wanna
Yeah,
where
go
we
ahead and
get
give us
we're at
our next
40.
team. Yeah.
So we're gonna go from number 40. I had Elgin Baylor. 39, I had Ray Allen. 38, we had Paul Pierce. 37th, I had Manu Ginobili. Tough pick, tough pick.
Mm.
36, Steve Nash. 35th, you got James Harden. Coming in at 34, you got Russell Westbrook. 33, you got Walt Clyde Frazier. 32, Chris Paul. And at 31, we got KG. So for me, who stood out the most in this list at number 31 was KG.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of people forget because he's another one of those guys at the end of his career. He didn't get the ring in the prime of his career when he probably should have. Like
Yeah.
KG was one of those guys who didn't leave when he should have left Minnesota, and his loyalty kind of bit him in the butt a little bit. So
Right.
I think KG probably he kind of robbed himself of a ring or two. Career average 17 and a half, 10 boards, about four dimes a game. He's an underrated passer. He has an MVP, 15th time All
For
Star.
sure.
He's got a ring. He's got one in Boston. 4-time rebounding champ. He also got a Defensive Player of the Year. KG, his resume speaks. You got an MVP, a ring, and a Defensive Player of the Year in there.
He's one of the best power
That's it.
forwards to play the game. He's one
Hands
of the
down.
best power forwards to play the game.
Hands down. If you can get an MVP, a ring, and a Defensive Player of the Year, that's getting like the Holy Trinity. You know what I mean? You were the best offensive player at a time. You're the best defensive player. Now, I'm not even just offensive. One of the best players in the game. Period. Defensively, you were the best at the time.
For a bad team, for a really
Exactly. And
bad team.
you took them to the playoffs consistently, and you actually got a ring at the tail end of your career, and you were still an important
Right.
piece. So KG's resume, it speaks for itself. You know what I mean? He'd be probably a little bit higher if he left Minnesota in his prime. You know,
Yeah.
he probably would have got a chance to compete for that championship a little bit more. But you know, his legacy is cement. You know, KG's one of the greatest.
Yeah.
You can't
For sure.
can't compare many to him. But that forward position is not many better.
Yeah, you hear anybody talk about him, it's always that he's one of their toughest matchups, one of the hardest players to play against. It's,
Sure.
it's either or with him.
For sure.
It seems like every couple months somebody else comes out and says that KG was the toughest person I played against, or person I had to guard. But he definitely deserves to be there. The MVP. He's one of the best defensive players of the league at the time, in a time when the league was still physical too. So he came with it every night, and like I said, he came with it on a bad Timberwolves team that didn't get. A player that I really pulled for was coming in at 34 was Russ. Numbers wise, they speak for themselves. Nobody thought that he could average a triple double for over a season.
How many times did he come down? 2 times.
He did it 2 times. Back to back. The only thing that's holding him back is just winning the ring, which I think he'll do. I foresee him doing that for sure.
I think so too. I think Russ
before the end of his career, he's gonna get a ring.
He deserves it.
I think he wants it that bad, and he's the most athletic point guard in this top 50. I just think that, like I said, the only thing that's holding him back is getting that ring, because numbers wise, him and Harden are right there neck and neck, whichever one of them. And the fact that they're on the same team now, it's gonna put them. They're gonna be neck and neck in that race for a long time. As long as they stay together, they can win a ring together. It's gonna move up just like that. But I think his resume is a little bit more better just because he's averaged a triple double over a season. 21, we got Jason Kidd coming at number 30 spot. 29, we got Kevin McHale. 28, we got Willis Reed. 27, I got Quad. 26, we got Dirk. 25, we got Isaiah Thomas. 24, John Stock. 23, we got Dr. J. 22, Jerry West. And 21, we got Oscar Robertson.
Big O.
Yeah, Big O.
Sure.
Like I said, the only thing that's holding Russ back is a championship, and that's why I got the Big O in this, this next tier, because he has that championship. Once he does get that championship, he can easily move, ahead of Big O, easily. A guy that I really pull for in this list here is Willis Reed. I think he's really slept on just because we don't really think of the New York franchise being one of this, but he's a career double guy, 18 and 13. He was captain of the only New York Knicks team that won championships back in 70 and 73. 2 MVPs, both of them over Kareem in the Lakers. The MVP races that he was in was over Kareem, I believe Wes Unseld, Jerry West, Walt Frazier, Connie Hawkins, John Havlicek, Nate Thurman, Elgin Baylor, Oscar Robertson. These are all guys that he didn't won MVP over. So
Yeah.
a lot of guys don't know about him, don't think
Yeah.
about the 70s, but at that time, winning the MVP like that with those type of names, legends that, we think of that are ahead of him in this list,
Yeah.
I definitely thought he deserved a spot on this list for sure.
For sure. For me, the guy who stood out the most was John Stockton. A lot of people really, really don't talk about him in this light, but when I posted something the other day on the page. Gary, they said, who's the toughest guy you ever guarded and had to guard?
Yeah.
And who was your hardest cover? John Stockton was on a lot of people's list. I've heard it, not just Gary Payton, but I've heard that on a lot of people's list. But Gary Payton specifically has been adamant about John Stockton being one of the hardest guys that he's had to guard.
He's pesky, man. He's real pesky.
13 a game. He averaged 10.5 assists a game, 2 steals a game. So we got the all-time leader in assists, and we got the all-time leader in steals. The only reason why he doesn't have 2 rings is Mike. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Like, because if Mike's not in the way, the Jazz probably go back to back, just because of that system. They just were such a greatly built team that the Jazz were built to win those championships. You just stood, in front. You'd have Michael, standing in front of a lot of people's way. So for me, John Stockton probably with 2 rings, John Stockton probably could be higher on this list. You know what I mean? He's already in that conversation.
He definitely could, because he's got the accolades,
Man.
He's got records.
Man,
he just, like you said, Michael standing in his way.
Yep.
He could easily be top 10 if he just had 1 ring. You know what I'm saying? I think he's the best pure point guard the game's ever seen, as far as doing
top 3,
doing the dirty work.
Top 3.
Top 3?
Top 3. Yeah,
he top 3. I'm talking pure point guard. Not scoring, not just doing your job.
When we get to the, we still got a little bit to go on the list, but there's some people that we discuss.
I personally don't count who you think is a pure point guard.
That is that we'll get there in a second. We'll discuss that later. But I feel you, man.
Give us the next 10.
I feel you. So then we're gonna go from 20 to 11. So that 20, we have Karl Malone. 19, I got AI. 18, we got Scottie Pippen. 17, I got Chuck. 16, Moses Malone. 15, Hakeem Olajuwon. 14, David Robinson. Coming in at 13, we got
D Wade. We had that switch. We had Hakeem at 14.
I'm sorry.
David Robinson at 15.
Yep, swap those 2, so I'm sorry. Yeah,
right.
I definitely do swap them out. Sorry about that. And then 13, it was D Wade coming in there. 12, this might be a little controversial for some. Wilt coming in at 12. And 11, we got KD.
Yeah.
The person for me on this list that stood out the most is AI. So when you start getting at 19, so when you start getting to the top 20 all time, usually the thing that stands out for a lot of people that gets them over that hump to get them in that top 25 players of all time is that ring. But he's one of those guys that you add a ring to his resume, he's top 5. Like, AI is that type of player.
Talent-wise,
changing the culture. Changed the culture, changed the game. Talent-wise, he's probably one of the 5 most talented players to ever play this, to touch a basketball. You know what I mean? Just imagine him 6'6". Just imagine him 6'6". He'd be the greatest player of all time. I love Mike. Of course, love Mike. But you give AI 6'6", it's
he would have got bezel.
You know what I mean?
So he would have got bezel.
So for me, AI is he's such a wild card on this list because all he needed is 1 ring and he's easily in the top 5, conversation. But because of when you look at career accolades and who has a better career, it's definitely guys who's more decorated as far as careers. But it's maybe 5-6 guys like more talented, if that, not even 5 guys than
Nah,
AI.
facts.
Just
That's
you know what I
facts.
mean? But based on accolades, based on careers, AI wasn't dealt the best hand. He was in Philly. He got an MVP, 4-time scoring champ, 3-time steal leader. You know what I mean? He's got some great
Yeah.
great stats. 26 points a game, 27 points a game. Over for his career. It's just he didn't get much help. You know what I mean? But AI get a ring. It's this conversation we wouldn't even be having it. You know what I mean?
True that.
Even one,
True that.
just one. You know what I mean? Just one forum changes the whole conversation. So AI was a guy that stood out for me majorly. Who you
Man,
got? Who you?
the guy that stood out for me in this was Moses Malone. A
Talk.
lot of guys probably wouldn't have him this high. But I think I even talked you into putting him this high just because his resume speaks for itself. Um, he's a 3-time MVP,
Damn.
uh,
Three.
back to back in '82 and '83, a champ in '83. He played in the era that was physical down low. Um, Given the championship he got, he was helped with Dr. J. Um, but he really led that team. Dr. J was on the end of his career, and he led that team. And when he won MVP in '83, I believe, I mean, he won it against Bird, Magic, uh, his teammate. Dr. J was fifth, Alex English, George Gervin, Kareem, Isaiah Thomas, Bernard King. These all guys that he was going against, in that era. So it wasn't weak by any means.
Mm.
People say Moses Malone and think he was dunking on a bunch of white guys, but I mean he was going against some of the greats.
How many
Some
years did you have
especially.
Chuck?
How many what?
How many years did he have to get to play with Chuck? He had a few of them, didn't he? He had a couple years
He
with
had a
Chuck.
few of them at the end. I think
Mm,
it was definitely after his MVP years, though, for sure.
for, for sure.
I don't know exactly. I have to look it up, but
But yeah, you
shoot,
caught him at the tail end.
he definitely deserves to be on this list. Only
For sure.
only reason why he is ahead of Chuck on this list is because of the rings. I mean, his resume is a little bit higher. Like I
Mm,
said, 3 MVPs and winning that championship. That's kind of
yeah.
you can't beat that.
Mm,
Talent wise, Chuck deserves to be within the top 10, but his resume just kind of lacks. But like I said, Moses Malone is one of the guys I pull for. 5 will go. Number 10, I got Steph. Uh, Number 9, I got Larry Bird. 8, I got Tim Duncan. 7,
mm.
I got Bill Russell. Number 6, I got Shaq. And
Hold on.
number 5, Magic Johnson.
Hold on. He was only supposed to go to 6.
Oh, my bad.
So you was only supposed to go to 6. That's cool.
My
So you
bad.
had wanted to go into
Spoiler alert.
my
Magic
point.
Johnson's at number 5.
Magic is top 5. You spoiled it for me.
No, but
But who you got? Who you got?
yeah, let me go ahead and speak my piece. Number 10, I got Steph Curry, man. I have Steph in this top 10. He could easily, you know, even you wanted to put him uh, outside of this top 10 and put KD in, but I think just
Yeah.
because he won that first ring in 2015 without KD, he has to be in that top 10. Plus, off the fact he changed the game, same way that Jordan did with Duncan, same way that AI did, with the crossover. He changed the game with 3 ball. So, um, you know, he changing the whole generation of players, of whole outlook of how people look at the game, and how everybody plays the game. So,
Yep.
not only does his resume speaks for itself, his stats do, and like I said, he's just as influential as the LeBrons. That I ain't gonna say MJ because ain't nobody more influential than him, but the LeBrons, the KDs of the world. Even AI to an extent as far as his gameplay.
For
So
sure. For sure.
I
Steph.
definitely thought he deserved to be on this. He deserved to be on this top 10.
For sure. Like, and once we talked about it, I definitely agree. Steph's the
I
top
think, and I, like I
top
said, I
two.
think that 2015 ring holds a lot of weight. That ring came organically. They didn't make any trades, any big trades. It came all within the Golden State organization.
No,
So
yeah,
like
for
I said, I think that 2015 ring is worth a lot of weight, just because that was the majority on Steph and Clay's shoulders. Also, the reason why Clay's in the top 50 as well.
no, for sure. And you got to you know that unanimous MVP don't hurt. That don't hurt at all. You know, so
Definitely don't hurt. The unanimous MVP
mm,
did not hurt, but that comes with changing the game the way he did.
it's true. It's true. Let's crack this top five. So at five, we got Magic, of course,
For sure.
which you talked about that pure point guard thing. There is nothing more pure point guard than Magic Johnson. I know you want to. I know you huge on
I'm
saying
saying though, he could play any position though. Like
no, bro. He's a
let's play
he
center.
did he only played he had to for injury because he's 6'9", but he's
Okay,
still
but
brought
John
the
Stockton can't do that. John Stockton can only play point
that's not
guard.
Magic Johnson's fault. But that doesn't change the fact that Magic Johnson is a pure point guard. On top of being a pure
No,
point guard,
that's facts.
he's the
He a pure 6'9" point guard.
pure-
Yeah,
he just is a freak of nature. He was the greatest, and it's not even close. And I don't think it will never be another. Like I truly don't think we'll have another point guard like that. You know what I mean? Ben Simmons is
Mm-mm.
tight. I love Ben is tight. He's 6'10" and he cold,
I ain't gonna
but
lie, Ben Simmons is the closest thing we didn't got to him because
him and
they said
LeBron.
LeBron. They said LeBron is, but he's way more better of a scorer. But Ben Simmons really the closest thing that we've had to Magic Johnson.
Not even, but and he still ain't even close. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, he really not even close
Ain't
because
no
as
we've
far as court vision and everything,
none
nowhere
better.
even close to where Magic Johnson was.
Magic averaged 11 assists over his career. Like, come on, bro. And the only reason why Magic don't got the assist title is because he retired early, literally.
Yeah,
John
yeah,
Stockton got these numbers because Magic didn't get to play. We wouldn't even be having this conversation. He averaged almost a whole assist over him. Like
right,
Magic was different. Like, and he got 5 rings. So it's kind of like, what can you really say? I got 5.
right.
Just to harp on that real quick, because I love John Stockton, but it's a different type of point guard we talking about. This level,
Yeah,
this
all right, man.
is the real
All
point
right.
guard. At 5, we got Magic, of course. 4, we got Kareem. It's about to get controversial with this top 3. So top 3, bear with me. Coming in at number 3, we got Kobe Bean Bryant, and that was tough. The top 3 is always the hardest because they are
Yeah,
all so close.
because I wanted to put him. I wanted to put him at 2 or at least above LeBron.
Can't
Um,
can't do it. I can't. It's something.
and I
It was
want you to
something.
tell me. I want you to tell me why.
It's so
The
hard.
same way you told me earlier. I want you to tell me why you can.
And I know a lot of people say, "Oh, hey, he hadn't even." You hear Shaq say it all the time. He ain't even passed Kobe. He ain't even passed Kobe yet, bro. The only reason why we have this conversation, the ring conversation, is because Mike set the standard here. Kobe got 5. Let's not get it twisted. Kobe got 5.
Facts.
But we said when we took this into consideration, we looked at teams, we looked at what they had to do for their team and organization, the teams that you've had to deal with. LeBron has had some of the worst teams in the history.
And that's the only reason why I could agree with him being on this spot.
Only,
Because if you take that into consideration,
he's supposed to have.
You have to put him in that spot.
Because if you give LeBron James any help, every time he's had some kind of help, LeBron James wins a championship. He's and even without the help, he's in the finals. Nobody has been to the
group. I said this on the group a couple hours ago. I was watching the game. I was watching Shaq put up 61, and I put this in the group, and I said those 2000 Lakers teams was really stacked.
Come on,
like
bro.
really stacked. I mean, like
Laker fan,
compared to the rest of the NBA, the rest of the NBA didn't have nobody but 1 star on each team. This team had like 2 former stars.
Come on,
you know, like maybe age, but like they was coming off the prime, or you know, at least they was decent ass role players. But no other team had that like that. So
bro.
when you said that about him carrying his team and doing it for 9 straight finals,
Nine.
I had to agree with you there. And I
Nine.
mean, some of the teams that he did it with was bogus.
And I hate that. And I hate that people going even when they hear this, they gonna hate it so much because I understand. I'm a Kobe all time. All time is Kobe and Mike for me. Like those are my two. So I'm very critical when I say this. But when you
Plus,
look at just
he's still playing, and if he gets this next ring, that kind of solidifies
the
it. That
conversation
definitely
changes it.
solidifies it.
And also, let's
Yeah,
look at
that
just a basic basketball talk conversation. All around basketball players. LeBron
I think
James
yeah.
literally doesn't really have a flaw. The only thing that we can say about LeBron James maybe is a mental aspect of his game, and that was early on of his
Defense,
career.
defense.
Defense, and that's a choice. He does when he plays when he wants to. He plays. He has what I mean. It's already been set. Right,
That's
if you
why for
stop
me,
right
that's
now,
why
he's
for
probably got
me, he
more.
will never be. That's why for me, that's why for
He
me,
won't
he'll
be
never
going.
be over Mike, and that's why this conversation between him and Kobe can go either way.
But see, that's
Um,
when the fact
because
that you
I think when you talking about being one of the greatest players, you can't turn it on and off like that. You have
no,
to have one
you can't.
mode, and when you step in between those lines, it's always
Yes,
go.
yes,
No matter if it's playoff time, regular season, it's always that mode. You shouldn't have to be able to turn a switch, you
you're
know,
right.
to
You
feel
right.
like and that's where it is for me.
I feel you.
Um,
I
that's that's why I feel like this conversation will go either way.
and see then that's why we can just go ahead and move on. But that's also why Mike is the greatest. That's why we have Mike at number one.
Yeah.
Mike, and that he's the guy that I have in here. 30-yard game over his career, 6 boards, 5 assists, 6-time champ, 6-time Finals MVP, 5-time MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, 10-time scoring champ, 3-time steal leader. He literally has
But
done
even if you don't
everything.
say all that, and you just go watch games, you can see why everybody thinks that. Nobody takes the time to think to go watch games. They just watch highlights of it. But if you watch games, the man literally does it both sides of the ball.
Try reading that stat coming into the finals, and you be like, y'all know Mike ain't never lost in the finals as the other team. You know what I mean? Like try
Man,
reading.
hey, release the tapes.
And
Release
like
the
this,
tapes. ESPN,
exactly.
release the tapes.
I want to hear. I want to know, like, how do you feel? Like, yo, we playing against the Bulls. Like, yeah, but Mike ain't never lost in the finals. You know this in your mind, and you're going into this game. Yeah, I want to win, but I still know that he's never lost the finals. So, am I going to be that guy to be able to break that mold? And a lot of those guys thought that they could, because there were teams that were built
Bro,
to beat
I'm
the Lakers.
sure the
Beat the Bulls.
Jazz thought that they was gonna do it.
Man, bro, they were built to beat them. They had that
They
team was
really
cold.
was.
The Suns were cold.
They had a
Chuck won
whole
MVP.
team that was decent. A
Like
whole
they were good.
team.
The Suns were good. Chuck won a ring.
Hornacek,
Chuck,
Stockton,
bro. You had the
Brian Russell, Malone.
even early on before they broke up that Orlando Magic team. You had teams built to win championships to beat him. You
And
know,
they was just talking. They was just talking about that team too. They said they're supposed to win a couple championships. Like people was scared of that team. They was happy that they broke up.
Yeah, but they were also, but see, then he went to LA and went to work. So like any team that you put Shaq on, he's another guy we can talk about. Shaq, he's the only other. This is the last one for me with Shaq. I did have a tidbit on him. We talked about this. If Shaq didn't move around so much at the end of his career, he might have went higher in this conversation, which he already went top 10 of all time. But
Yeah,
Shaq,
he could have went. He could have went top 5. He could have went. I
easily.
wouldn't say he over Kareem, but he could have took Magic spot right there. He could have jumped to Magic spot.
See the
Had
rings
he?
for me. See the rings might be the only reason why for Kareem because he was way more dominant.
Yeah. Oh
Way
yeah.
more
Yeah.
dominant.
Yeah.
Kareem just
Shaq was a way better talent. Well, but see, look at this though. Look at this, because you can't say that because Kareem was the same way Shaq was in his era. Just wasn't doing it the way that Shaq did. You know what I'm saying? That's why Kareem has as many points as he does.
He was, but see, also he like we just said with LeBron, longevity. Kareem played till he was 40, so like
Longevity.
He played until 40 playing in the league for 20 something years. He averaged almost 20 a game for 20
True.
years.
But you
So it's
gotta go
like,
back and
say,
listen to what people say about him too. Like he
oh
was a
well,
freak
yeah,
of nature. You know
well,
what I'm saying? Like people wasn't
and
doing the things physically that he was.
oh no,
You
no,
know what I'm saying?
not at all,
Like
not at all. He's top 10 of all time.
yeah,
You
top
know what I mean?
10. Like I said, that top 10 list could go all those guys. Bill Russell at number 7, you could put him top 3 for having as many rings as he does. You know what I'm saying? But like I
I've heard
said,
people
just
argue
off our
because
personal preference and off of talent and resume, like the way we thought of, you know, that top 5 is kind of exclusive. Especially talent wise, those
oh
guys
yeah,
are some of the most talented people we've seen, and dominant at that position for sure. So,
for
uh,
sure. You usually start to
RFP the
see
Black Mamba, man. Definitely, I
him be dope.
definitely. It's
That's
crazy,
the
man. Don't even seem real.
still don't.
But man, that wraps up the list. I had a couple of honorable mentions. John Havlicek, uh, Giannis. Who was some of your honorable mentions that didn't make it in that you was kind of on the border with? There was a couple of mines. There was a couple more I got to think of though.
Gary Payton. I didn't have a
Gary
lot.
Payton,
Gary Payton.
man, Gary Payton, Reggie Miller,
Reggie was
T
close.
Mac, T
Yeah, T
Mac.
Mac. Honestly, T Mac's not for me. I
You
did
don't
not
think
have
T Mac's close?
not in the top 50. T Mac's honestly, we can even have an argument that T Mac might not be Hall of Fame because his career got cut too short. Talent wise, yeah, and I think that's the problem. We give him
Is
we go
Grant
based on
Hill
his
in
talent.
is Grant Hill in the Hall
Nope,
of Fame? Okay,
nope, he's not
okay,
either. Neither one. They're in the same
okay.
conversation. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
I was about to say because if Grant Hill's in the Hall of Fame, the T Mac does not definitely deserves to be in there. But if he's
Yeah,
not,
if
then
you
he
gonna
doesn't
do
need
that,
to
yeah.
be in there.
No, and that's the thing. Both of them are Hall of Fame talent. It's just their career got cut short. So the problem is people want to say, "Oh man, they deserve for 5 years." I can't give you that. You know what I mean? You gave 5 disgusting years of just nasty basketball where you just dominated the league, but if you didn't give the extended, you know what I mean? Your career was cut short because of injury. So it's hard to say you had a Hall of Fame career. You had a Hall of Fame 5 years, but your career
Tony
was cut
Parker.
short.
Tony
Tony Parker
Parker was
was
one
another
that I
guy.
was
He
on the
couldn't.
fence. I really wanted to put him in here. I really
Mm,
did.
okay.
It was a couple other guys out there, man, but we couldn't fit them all in there in that exclusive top 50 list. I'm gonna have them playing all on the screen here, for you to go back over them. Um, Definitely, man. All time top 50. That's our list. The Fast Breaks official top 50 list. Let us know what y'all think. I know
Certainly.
y'all gonna have a lot to say for sure. So
Mm.
just let us hear it, man. Let us hear it. Ain't Ish, you got anything to say?
Man, first episode live recording, so yeah, everybody
Man, I
check us
hope it
out.
works out, man. Yeah, we got a lot of work to do, man. But
Yeah,
hopefully
man,
we can get it
first
all together.
it's the first one, so we still growing. We'll make sure we get it on screen for you as well. Follow us on Instagram at the Fast Break 9. Follow us on Facebook, the Fast Break Sports Group. What's the Twitter, JT?
At the Fast Break, the number 3. Give us a follow, man. Let us know that you're paying attention. Retweet, follow us. And you can also look us up on the Facebook group at the Fast Break, the number 3 as well. Like, uh, our page and join it. If you like talking NBA, talking hoops, that's all we talk about 24/7. So it's usually always somebody posting something, commenting, always doing something on the page, no matter what time you tune into. So, also, I'll be putting the YouTube information below. Don't know it off the top of my head, but I'm gonna put the link for that below as well. So go ahead and like and subscribe to that. Turn the notification bell on so you know whenever we drop a video. Now that we actually doing this, should be coming up more frequently. So, uh, yeah, man, definitely tune into us to the podcast. This should also be on the podcast. It's coming up pretty soon too, on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So, uh, yeah, man, it's been great. Definitely an experience, man. Appreciate this. Number 5 coming at you. Number 6 coming
Sir.
soon. Should be within a week or so.
Episode
Don't know if
5.
we'll do it on here or if we'll do it on live. We think about doing episodes on Instagram live, so we might move it there depending on what's going on.
Yeah,
But we'll let y'all know for sure. So appreciate y'all. We'll
certainly.
definitely get to probably get to 500 followers within the next week or so. So definitely look forward to that.
Keep y'all
Like I said,
posted on that.
keep y'all posted on that. We'll be doing a raffle here. So just stay tuned. So, man, Ish, you got anything else?
Man, that's it, bro. We covered it. We appreciate y'all for listening again. Stay tuned for episode 6. This was episode 5, season 1, episode 5. This one top 20, top 50 of all time. Let us know what you think. Give us some feedback. Comment below, whatever you need. Just if you want to be a part of it, give us a shout. We'll see if we can make some room. It's the fast break, bro.
For sure, man. Let us know, man. Hey, till next time, man. Keep that Mamba mentality. We out.
We out.